It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what experience you're going through in life. If you're grateful for the opportunities, if you're grateful for the challenges, and more importantly, if you're grateful for the people in your life, dude, it changes everything. As I said, it's a force multiplier. Without gratitude, it will force multiply the negativity, the sadness, the despair. With gratitude, it'll magnify the strength, the courage, the vision, the opportunity, the excitement, whatever it is, the positive stuff. That's the power of gratitude. What's up, my friends? JT with you today for the True Driven Podcast, the podcast for the few, the true, the driven. Those of us who have aligned and united to become the True Driven. And I say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time it is for you, no matter where you might be tuning in from on the Big Blue Marble. Thanks as always for joining me here, whether you're brand new or whether you've been with us for years. Thank you so much for joining me here. And by here, I'm talking about Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube. YouTube.com/JT. I love YouTube because that's the place that I can bring you more and different content, updates, and things. So I'd recommend you get over there, subscribe, stay in the know so you can be the first to know when I do bring you those new updates and content. Lots of great stuff coming at you. Today is actually going to be a little bit of a throwback to the past. If you guys have followed me for any measure of time, especially in my previous podcasts, you may have heard me talk about Gratitude Week. In fact, I had to dust off this old composition book from way back in the day and look through some of my notes, as it was just kind of a nice little journey, I guess, down memory lane. This is one of the original books I would actually kind of outline and highlight what I was going to talk about on the previous podcast episodes. And it's awesome. Like, I value this. To me, it's priceless. And I've got 3 or 4 of these that are packed full of notes on previous shows that I've done. And I just kind of took a look back at that. And I used to do it every single week leading up to Thanksgiving here in the United States. Now, I'm pushing this particular podcast episode the day before our Thanksgiving. So usually the True Driven Podcast drops on a Wednesday. And so this is the day before our Thanksgiving here in the United States. And most countries have some version of Thanksgiving. We celebrate Thanksgiving here in the United States as a way to show gratitude and appreciation for the founding of our country, the principles that we live by, and really just anything that you really genuinely are grateful for. And I thought this was an awesome opportunity to bring this up because you True Drivens know that as entrepreneurs, as leaders, as creators and builders, it's so important for us to come from that place of being able to stand true to our values and build that vision for ourselves, be on the mission, and of course, do it with a sense of purpose. One of the most important things that I have discovered in the years that I've been an entrepreneur, and frankly, in the decades that I've been a leader and taught and trained and exemplified leadership and transferred that knowledge to others, is the force multiplier of gratitude. I think it's one of the most powerful forces that we have as human beings. Now, I don't know if other members of the animal kingdom genuinely feel gratitude. I think you do. I've got dogs. You guys may have pets. Our pets sometimes exude that sense of gratitude. I know my dogs do. I can get a sense of that. But there's only one species on the planet that can really communicate it and describe it, and therefore show the power of gratitude. And nobody does it better than humans, right? Or at least in a way we understand it, in the way we can receive it. I share this with you because it's very important to have a sense of what gratitude can do for you and what it does for other people. As leaders, we want to be intentional about everything we do. We want to have a clear sense and a sense of purpose behind those things. So I'm talking about gratitude today because whether you have it or whether you don't, whether you behave it, whether you observe it, or whether it's something that's amiss for you, I want to encourage you to up level how much you experience it, how much you feel it, how much you express it, and more importantly, how much you lead with a sense of gratitude. Now, what is gratitude at its core? Really, I mean, gratitude, everybody can kind of come up with their own definition. You can look it up in, Webster's dictionary or these other things, and you can find a textbook definition for gratitude. But I personally think it's a sense of appreciation for what is. If you can just distill it down to that, it keeps it super simple. An appreciation for what is, not what you want it to be, not what you wish it should be, or what it once was. Those things can be possible. You can still appreciate that. But true gratitude actually requires us to be present. It's one of the most powerful behaviors that we can have as a human being, to be present, meaning to actually, in the moment, be conscious of that moment, to be firmly feet on the ground with that moment, with the person we're having the moment with right now, knowing that I'm here with you virtually on this podcast gives me a true sense of gratitude. Before I do any podcast episode, I take a moment to get myself into a feeling and a place of gratitude. I see this as a huge privilege and an honor to speak to you, to have an audience that cares enough about themselves and about their leadership and about their personal excellence. And I find that being called, which I feel like I have been, to do this message, to have this platform, is a huge honor, something I'm deeply grateful for. As I was reviewing these notes, it was fun to go back and think about how many times I've done this talk or versions of it. And as I said before, I used to do basically a daily podcast. It was really 4 days a week. So it was Monday through Thursday. And that week leading up to Thanksgiving, I would do the gratitude week. So each day I would kind of address something. I want to take a kind of like a page from that book, if you will, literally and metaphorically, and take a different approach and just talk about a couple of areas that I have found to be extremely valuable for myself, my clients, other top level performers in business and in life, and talk about how gratitude is specific in those areas and how it will actually increase your performance. So without further ado, the first one is to have a true sense of gratitude. We got to talk about gratitude, what that means. It means being able to actually slow down for just a second and actually be present and in the moment with what is the thing you're having gratitude with. And before I was talking about having gratitude with what is. Sometimes that even means things that you're not really thrilled about or fond of. We'll get to that in a second. The idea is to have an actual experience. It's not just saying the words, hey, thank you, or I'm grateful for. It's being able to actually feel that true sense of gratitude. It's crazy. Everybody's going to experience it differently. That's the great thing about gratitude. You might feel a sense of happiness and hope. You might feel warm inside. You might feel maybe even a little bit euphoric. You may feel emotions well up. All of those things are great because they're personal to you. That's the first element, I think, of gratitude, is that it's deeply personal. The other part about it is that it's a universally human thing. In fact, as I said before, it's possible. I actually truly believe that my pets, my dogs, feel gratitude. I can actually feel it coming from them. So it connects us to other species on the planet, maybe even in the universe, if that's something you believe in. But here's the interesting thing, is a lot of people will talk about gratitude being a spiritual practice as well. So it doesn't matter whether you believe or what you believe. The idea that it could connect us to a higher power is extremely powerful. One thing I will tell you is, regardless of where you stand on your spiritual or political or any of those kind of spectrums, is the more gratitude you feel, the higher your performance in your business and life. Flat out. Full stop. If you are somebody who doesn't necessarily have a lot of gratitude in your life, but you're performing at a pretty high level, I'm encouraging you for the next 2 weeks to get into a practice of actually working on feeling gratitude for anything in the moment, and just catch yourself, especially in times when you may not necessarily be feeling super grateful or happy or necessarily content. You could be grateful for anything. If you have a cup of something to drink, Be grateful that you have that. If you have a roof over your head, take a moment and think, hey man, it's pretty nice to not be outside if it's particularly miserable. Or if it's delightful outside and you happen to be outside, the ability to be outside. Now, this may sound trite. It may sound like one of those things like, yeah, JT, I get it. Get on with it. But I'm giving you a couple of examples if you are challenged by this concept of actually feeling gratitude. If you're not challenged by it, if it's something that you definitely adhere to, something you are absolutely all in on, I'm going to give you a couple of areas to really focus in on that will 100% increase your performance in your business, in your life. And for those of you who are struggling right now, this is my call to action for you. Definitely, if you are struggling, take what I'm about to say on board, take it to heart, and put it into action. One area that has been extremely valuable for me, powerful for me, and something I encourage you to be grateful for or spend some time with gratitude in is having gratitude for your opportunities. Think about this for a second. We all have had opportunities in our life. Some of them we've seized, some of them we've let go. Some of them have come and gone. But think about where you are right now and where you would have been without some of the opportunities. The opportunities to meet the people that you love and care about. The opportunities to create the things you've created. The opportunities to do the things you do, whether it's your career, whether it's a business, whether it's serving other people. The opportunities are what basically drives high performance life. Those abilities to be in a place, to be in a position, to be qualified to step into an opportunity is something to definitely be grateful for. And when we feel a sense of gratitude, we actually have a sense of being able to identify more of those opportunities. Our eyes begin to open. It's almost like you tune your radio and you can you just move the dial. Remember back in the day when you actually had to do that? You'd actually get better reception, sharper, clearer reception, hear the music better, get the static out of the way. Oh, there's a lesson there. That's definitely what gratitude does. Gratitude behaves as if one of those tuning knobs has been dialed to just the right frequency and we can finally hear with clarity. That's what gratitude can do for you. And it's so important when we're looking at our opportunities and not overlooking them. The reason for being grateful and demonstrating and practicing gratitude, feeling it and also communicating it to the people and to the situations in our life is so that we can honor the fact that that is in our life, that we can actually look for and receive more of those opportunities. It's very difficult when you take something for granted to truly appreciate it, but also to expand and grow that. Sooner, over time, it's going to either wilt and go away, or it's just going to stay stagnant and flat. So take a look at the areas of your life that have been excellent for you, or maybe have been stepping stones to where you're headed now. Even if you're not at the top of your level yet, maybe you're still growing, maybe you're still climbing, maybe you're still getting after it. Hopefully you are. But think about the opportunities that had to line up, the timing, the people, the relationships, all the things that had to be in place in order for you to be there. But also think about what you had to do. You had to see the opportunity and seize the opportunity. And that's something to be grateful for. I got to say, besides opportunities, it's very easy to look at opportunities as something that worked out. But what about the things that didn't work out? What about the things that we're challenged by? Super important to have gratitude for our challenges. Super important to have a sense of appreciation for the hard shit that comes into our lives. It's very easy to bitch and complain. And guys, look, there's enough of that shit going on in the world right now that we've got to rise above that. That's what fucking leaders do, man. We rise above all of that kind of stuff. And the whole point to that is not so that you feel better or that you ignore it, bury your head in the sand. The point is that you find a way out of it. A moment ago, I was talking about opportunities. Well, guess what? The vast majority of opportunities didn't land in your lap by some fucking magic fairy dust. It happened because you put yourself in a position to win. You put yourself in a position to win because you were likely in a place of challenge. You hit threshold. You weren't making the money you wanted to make. You weren't in a relationship or an environment or an organization that you wanted to be in. So you looked for something better. And there was an opportunity on the other side of that challenge. That's the fucking awesome thing. That's the part that for me is the most exciting part, and the thing to really be grateful for when it comes to being in a challenge is knowing that nothing is permanent. So if you're going through a challenging time with your health, a challenging time with your finances, a challenging time with a relationship, a challenging time with your career, your business, honestly, one of the most important first steps is to take a moment and have some genuine, not lip service, genuine gratitude. Think of this. Somewhere, somehow, you have demonstrated to the world, your higher power, whatever you believe in, that you are worthy of taking on the next level of the load, the next level of a challenge. You've shown by raising your hand on some metaphorical way or literal way that you have what it takes. Now you're in the challenge. It sucks. You want out. Well, there's two ways. You can either quit and head for the exits, or you can fucking put your head down and get some and find your way through the challenge. Discover the solution to the challenge. Problem solve your way through the challenge like a fucking leader. The power of having gratitude for a challenge allows you to more openly see the solutions, to more creatively find the way to overcome the challenge in the first place. It's fucking amazing. It's one of the most powerful things you can do is to actually feel genuine gratitude for the challenge. Now, this is not us saying, oh, thank God I'm having such a hard time. I'm so glad that I'm struggling financially or that my health took a fucking major dive. That's not what we're saying. You don't have to be Pollyanna about this or feed it a line of bullshit. That's obviously not going to help. But having genuine gratitude for saying, man, I am fucking strong enough for this. I will figure this out. I don't know how to do it right now, but I'm smart enough. I'm skilled enough. And more importantly, I am the person that has the character that can see this thing through. That's powerful. And to be able to say that with conviction and actually truly mean it requires gratitude. You have to find the gratitude for it. And here's the good news. You're not saying, yes, please, more of this. That's not how that works. That's not how that works. What you are actually saying is, fuck yeah, I'm going to find a way out of this. And it opens the door for the opportunities that will be the solutions to get you out. You'll start to actually see them more readily and in more higher volume when you come from a place of gratitude for the challenges themselves. It's one of the weirdest mysteries of life, but something that I have found to be very true. Another area that may be more obvious, if I said, what are you grateful for? Throw it in the comments. I'm curious. What are you grateful for? It would be interesting to see what you put in there. A lot of times what I hear from people when I say that is they start talking about the people in their lives. Well, couldn't think of a better time to not just experience that for yourself, but communicate it openly to those people. Tell them that you appreciate them. Tell them how you appreciate them, what about them you appreciate. More importantly than just what they've done for you, so we don't turn it into some transactional thing, it becomes more about the value of the connection and the presence of them in your life and how that has changed your life or how you feel about that. Those are the things that we talk about with gratitude with people. It's very easy to think, man, some of the things I'm most grateful for are my family, my wife, my kids, my brother, my sister, my aunt, my uncle, my mom, my dad. You start thinking about these people, my business partners. You start thinking about how grateful you are for them. But how often do you actually sit in that feeling? How do you feel it? How do you experience it? And do you share it outwardly on a regular basis? Because I'm saying this today, it's very easy to talk about gratitude the day before Thanksgiving, but what if you're not a U.S. citizen? Or what if you're watching this in July of next year, right? The message is timeless and it's without boundary. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what experience you're going through in life. If you're grateful for the opportunities, if you're grateful for the challenges, and more importantly, if you're grateful for the people in your life, dude, it changes everything. As I said, it's a force multiplier. Without gratitude, it will force multiply the negativity, the sadness, the despair. With gratitude, it'll magnify the strength, the courage, the vision, the opportunity, the excitement, whatever it is, the positive stuff. That's the power of gratitude. Which, by the way, while we're on the topic of people, let's not forget to have some gratitude for the ones we don't necessarily love. Maybe the ones we don't really appreciate. The naysayers, the rivals, the people that we loathe. Isn't it interesting that there's some value and power to that? Not to be, cliche, but think about this. There is no light without darkness. Without naysayers, you don't have people keeping you sharp. Without a rival, you don't have somebody to have competition and compete against. Without the people that you perhaps maybe have some very, very hardcore negative feelings toward, maybe that's designed to give you perspective. Maybe it is designed to give you more appreciation and, dare I say, gratitude for the people that you love. It's very easy to take the good things, the positive things, the beneficial things for granted until we interface and make direct eye contact with adversity. Yes, I realize challenge and adversity is difficult for some more than others. And sometimes you may be going through a time right now that feels insurmountable. You may be dealing with people, relationships, a situation with a person, a specific individual might come to mind when I ask you who's the most adversarial, difficult person you'd love to have wiped off the face of the fucking earth. I challenge you today to have a moment of gratitude for that person. It doesn't mean you're accepting them. It doesn't mean that you are calling them right. It doesn't mean that you want more of that person or their behaviors or their nature or their energy inside your life. That's not what you're saying. You are taking the next level of not just maturity, but actual genuine leadership, humanity, in finding gratitude for even your adversaries, and especially for the folks that you do not love. Quite the opposite of. I know it's hard. Easier said than done, and I have to do it myself. I have to push and challenge myself with this. Look, if it was easy, then everybody would just go the way that they've been going. Society would continue to crumble and decay. But goddamn, we need leaders. We need true people like you and me who are willing to step the fuck up and be the next best version of ourselves on a daily basis. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is with the gratitude, especially for people and especially for the people we don't necessarily agree with or align with or want to be around, maybe even people you hate all too fucking together. Can you do it? Do you have what it takes to rise up to that challenge? And my humble push is yes, you do. You absolutely do. Which brings me to the final point that I want to talk about today. The most important place to put your focus for gratitude, to pour some gratitude into, is for yourself. It's not surprising to me how many high performers I talk to, work with, that have a deep darkness that they're driving either away from or pushing against. A lot of times there's self-loathing, there's self-deprecation, negative self-talk that's at play. Very often I find that is a almost defense mechanism from their past trauma, suffering in childhood, whatever. Without getting deep into that kind of stuff, let me just simply say this. There is a shelf life to where that will actually benefit you. But you have to understand that you put yourself in an amazing position to win. If you're here, you are a winner. even if you have not gotten to the levels that you want to get, you're still climbing the ladder, still climbing the mountain, so to speak, looking for that peak. That is a lifelong constant thing. So to assume that you're going to be there now and just kind of set it and forget it, success is ridiculous. You probably understand this, but to understand how powerful having gratitude is for yourself is going to take the whole next step that might be the step that you're holding yourself back from. It might be the step you have to take. Now, I get if you aren't where you want to be, if you've made some mistakes, maybe some things that you are not proud of, you might even have shame around. That's even more important in those cases, in that situation, to have gratitude for yourself, true, genuine self-honor. We talk about self-love, we talk about all these things, and I get it. It might sound a little bit soft, might sound a little woo-woo. I understand, but please realize that that's not what this is genuinely about. What this is about is the ability to respect yourself, to see the value in what you've done, to recognize that you have taken on challenges, that you have overcome situations. Maybe you've had setbacks that didn't go the way you'd planned them. Maybe you overlooked something. Maybe you underestimated someone. And on some level, some capacity, it knocked you down a notch and you're not where you thought you'd be by now. It's still a very powerful realization that you should be grateful for, that you have such high standards that you continue to push for instead of lowering the standards just so you can call it a win. Most people in society will literally settle for whatever they get, but not you. The idea that you can have huge dreams, have a huge vision for yourself, hold standards based on your values, and still show up every single day despite the challenges, the setbacks, the frustrations, whatever, is something to be truly grateful for. The fact that you've put yourself in a situation to have the people, to put yourself in the situation to seize or even recognize the opportunities and go after them, even if you haven't seized them yet, is something to be grateful for. The power of gratitude is one thing, but the power of gratitude for yourself is a whole nother level. It's not just now because we're up on Thanksgiving. This is something to practice on a daily basis. So my challenge to you is to today find a quiet place, a place where you can literally be private for just a few minutes. I don't care if you got to lock yourself in a closet, pull into a parking lot somewhere, but actually sit for a moment and feel the actual gratitude for yourself, for not just what you've overcome and where you're at today, but for the path that you're on that's leading you to tomorrow. This isn't anything soft or weird. This is something that every high performer has to go through. And if you look at anybody that you respect, admire, or aspire to follow, you'll see that those top level leaders and high performers are folks that have on some capacity found that self-respect, that self-honor, that self-love, that self-gratitude. That's what it takes to truly uplevel your performance in business and in life. So, this is an awesome opportunity to experience, to practice, and to convey your gratitude for the opportunities, for the challenges, for the people, both the supporters, the people that love you, the people that have been there for you, and those that are maybe working against you, your challengers, your detractors, your naysayers. It's also important to have respect for yourself, because the one thing that's universal, the challenges, they will come and go. The opportunities, they will come and go. Setbacks don't last forever. Victories don't either. The people who love you may or may not have been with you from day one, may or may not be with you at the final day, nor will your detractors, your naysayers, your rivals, whomever. The one person who will be there from the day you take your first breath till the day you take your last is you. So make sure you take that time today and every single day to have gratitude for all of it, all of them, and especially for yourself. That's the master step. That's what it takes to be the true driven that you were born to be. And right now the world needs more of that. So let's take that opportunity to have that gratitude feel the gratitude, experience the gratitude, and display that gratitude and convey it. All right, my friends, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this platform. I'm grateful for this opportunity to lead and to help foster this next generation of true drivens. And I'm grateful to be able to do it with you. So thank you for sharing this message far and wide. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for staying in the know and being the first to know when I drop new content, which I will be soon. And remember, no matter what course you fly in life, fly high, fly fast, fly far, stay driven.